as we are going to start with this basic overview about Indian society and social justice. See, this paper is like the underdog. Doesn't look visible, but it can bite you hard. The reason is, if you see the relevance of this area in terms of marks, Indian society on an average is asked for almost 60 to 70 marks in paper 1. On a low side in 2015 it was 60. Now presently it's almost 70, but if I say in past 5 years. And if I speak of social justice, then it is almost of 40 to 50 marks. So social justice, one question comes in combination with polity or governance, one question. But rest of the questions are quite distinct. I hope you know the syllabus. Are you aware of the syllabus? Briefly, just an overview. What are the key dimensions associated with which area? Okay, so in Indian society, GS paper 1, you have salient features of Indian society, diversity of India, then there is role of women, women organizations, there is this component of population, poverty and development issues, urbanization, their problem and their remedies, all these issues. And then along with that, impact of globalization on Indian society, communalism, secularism, regionalism, and social empowerment. This is paper 1. In this, you'll find that there are some like hotcake areas which keep repeating itself. Like for example, globalization, role of women, poverty, diversity. These are some areas which UPSC kind of repeats itself. Not the same issue, but yes, the chapter is quite important, all right? Then in paper 2, when we speak of it, it is associated with the performance of various centrally sponsored schemes. And the moment you say performance of centrally sponsored schemes meant for vulnerable sections, after this, there is an extension to the topic. Laws, bodies, mechanisms meant for vulnerable sections. And because this area is associated with the laws, bodies, mechanisms for the vulnerable section, you'll realize that this specific domain gets connected to governance and polity. Because laws, bodies like National Human Rights Commission, National Women's Commission, where do you study it? You study about it in polity, right? So that's how one question goes in combination. Another component is development and management of social sector, that is education, health, and human resource. Education and health, another two hotcake topics. You can very well perceive that. And then last but not the least, again, poverty is there, but this time with hunger, poverty and hunger. So this is a brief overview to the syllabus, what the syllabus is comprising of. Now, what happens is that students, they do not realize that paper 1 and paper 2 clubbed together has a worthiness of 110 to 120 marks. And this is a competitive exam. You're fighting to get selected. This is not an exam where you are just going to get a degree of BA, BSc, BCom, whatsoever. You're not working here for getting a degree. You're actually studying here to get selected. So every single mark matters. Are you aware the difference between first rank holder and the last rank holder? What is the difference in the marks? How much? Suppose rank 1 and rank 750. What's the difference in the marks? Make a tentative guess. Let us see. A random guess, as wild as possible. Oh, 60, 150, something else? 70 to 75, just 30 marks. 3030. So as you ripen with your ranks, on every single mark, there can be 15 to 20 people, same marks. I mean, there have been times when once in a while, I do have a student who has the same marks but is not in the list. So I'm like, don't worry, the waiting list will come in the month of September, October, and you shall get into it. Why? The person could not make it initially to the list, alphabet. The name is alphabet. So ABC got in, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K is waiting. That happens as you start receding with your, now some people are like triggered, oh my God, my name is with P. So you don't need to bother about that because that's like targeting for rank 780. Why? Even the 780 targeted to become an IAS. It's like various permutations, combinations which pull down a student. Anyway, so that's the game. 30 marks and you are like swayed. So where are the chunks and areas where you can score very well? There are 4 areas, always remember that. From day 1 to the last lap of your selection. The first area where you can score very well means 60% or above is your optional. This year's All India topper in sociology with 304 was my student from 2017 batch, Dongari Lakshman. But that fellow, in previous 2 attempts, he was like quite good in essay. So when I had taught him essay at that time, he had 154. Next attempt 137. This time he was like, oh ma'am, I felt like smacking him. I'll be very honest. I'm very emotional with my students. More like you can say a motherly concern. So I was like, how could you goof up the attempt? Despite being All India topper, not being selected, not getting recommended to the list. Why? Because we are not here to only talk about success stories. We should talk about our stories of failure also. So that you understand that once you get into the game, your teacher is there to hold your hand to the last lap. His one attempt is left. And I'll be standing for him through all his thick and thin in this preparation. It's not like something like till the time I'm giving you coaching, only till then I'm your teacher. No. Till the time you're ready to run, fight, I'm standing for you. That is something which I always promise to my students. So this fellow, what happened was, when he got good marks in essay, he became overconfident. Essay is my comfort zone. Then what happened, last time in his ethics paper also, he had got 128. So 128, I'm very good with ethics also, ma'am. So he did not practice. Yes, he did not practice. Before the essay paper, he wrote 2 essays, that's it. Before ethics paper, the 5 days break, which he had in between to prepare, he just used that. He's like, that's it. It's like, I don't know. I mean, he was at that time in Hyderabad when he declared the result. I was like, I wish you were here in Delhi. I would have actually made you feel how hard hitting it is. I mean, more than you, how much I am like shocked by this specific possibility that you've created. So just sharing this with you. Not every year is same. Give your best. And for each and every single paper, you need to be focused. 304, you understand? That's quite substantial marks, right? So do not be fooled by the possibility, oh, this optional is too high, this optional is too low, not performing good, performing very good. No. On an average, every optional is good if you can love and justify it. 60% or above is possible in optional subject, but not in GS. You see all these All India toppers, rank 50, rank 58, see their GS marks. On an average, they will be sailing between 105 to 115. Means not even 125. Means not even 50% marks in GS. That's what GS is. Because you are entering into a competition, you should know what you are preparing for. You should know which area is going to give you what. Essay, Ira Singhal, who was All India topper way back, this girl, she had 167. 167 out of 250. You can understand, it's like whooping high marks, right? And the same girl, when she had given her first attempt, when she got into revenue services, 2010, when she had actually done the coaching. So in 2010, when she got into revenue services, at that time, essay was of 200 marks. She had got 90, 45% marks. She's like, I understood that I'm goofing it up because my balance is staggering. So later on, she fixed it. So essay is one area where you can get 60% above. Second is optional. Third, to a certain extent, is ethics. Any subject which is highly subjective can pull you up and can pull you down. Has both the possibilities intact in it. Most objective disciplines are maths, physics, but you don't have those disciplines here. So objectivity is not working here in civil services. A lot of subjectivity testing the real you, the civil servant inside you, if it is there. So paper 4 can again pull you up to 128, 132, like till that limit. I mean, amongst all 4 GS papers, except 2017, that was a dark year for ethics, for the simple reason an IPS officer was caught red-handed cheating in the prelims exam. Yes, so an IPS, he asked his wife to send him answers. He had a little Bluetooth in his ear and he was cheating in the prelims. So he was banned from the exam for, like, you know, his future attempts. But you'll be like, ma'am, how about his selection? You cannot cancel the selection. That was on the basis of merit, and it's just like an officer is caught red-handed in corruption and you're like, cancel his selection. How can you cancel his selection, okay? So corruption is after getting selected, getting it? So I hope you are understanding this bit. But he was like banned from taking the exam in the future, ever. But the thing is, that year, everyone questioned, how come this guy had 145 in ethics? So because of that, in 2017, there was a very strict marking of ethics. UPSC went like gaga over the very possibility of cutting as many numbers as possible. So ethics performed very badly, 2017. 18 it was like moderate, not so great. Again, it has caught up. So 4 areas. One is essay, second is optional, third is ethics, and fourth is interview. In interview, people can get 135, 185, 205. All these possibilities are there. So interview marks can pull you up and it can just pull you down. Anything is possible. So remember, you have to really master these 4 areas because it's a competitive exam. Similarly, suppose you are doing history in GS paper 1 or geography in GS paper 1 or art and culture in GS paper 1, okay, or polity in GS paper 2 or IR in GS paper 2. Despite of the fact that you are preparing all those areas, and you should because they have a consonance in prelims as well. And nowadays, if any one of you has appeared for prelims or is aware about the possibility of prelims, what happened this year? The process of elimination was removed. Any person who was a boss in, like any person who felt that I am a boss in eliminating the questions, this year the method of elimination was not working at all. All questions seem to be correct. Their options seem to be correct. And you're like, wow, okay, now which one to choose? So any person who was very thorough with the theory part and was capable to connect theory with application was the person who could make it this year for prelims. So you need a theoretical understanding whereby being very thorough with the mains class is essential. When you are very thorough with the conceptual clarity, theoretical clarity of of mains, with application in current affairs, your capability to attempt prelims exam becomes far more profound, far more, I would say, polished. Anyway, so why am I saying so? Because history, 80 marks, polity, 80 marks, geography, 80 marks, Indian society, 110, 120, okay? So that's the importance of this area. So my area, that's why I said it looks like an underdog. You'd feel, oh, women, globalization, education, hunger, I can do this. That's the issue. The moment a student feels confident in these areas, UPSC asks you questions which can batter you. And after battering you down, can make you feel, oh my God, this looked seemingly so innocent a question, but I don't know what to produce in the content. So that's why I say that it looks like an underdog area. You don't prepare it well, it can bite you the hardest. For the simple reason, you don't know it. You don't know the basic concept or the basic like underlying current of what and how should be like dealt with, one thing. Second thing, with respect to this, when you're understanding the importance in terms of marks, another importance of Indian society and social justice is it can help you with one of the topics of essay. So out of 250 marks of essay, 125 marks these days since 2018 is related to philosophical essays. A student who's profoundly prepared for ethics paper can attempt the 125 marks very well, but the rest 125 is a combination of subjects. It can be like there are 4 topics. One is from social issues, second is from economics, third polity, okay? Fourth can be anything, IR or science and tech or anything else, or maybe even a quote-based question. But in the essay paper, when you get this combination of 4 types of question, one which is based on social issues, if I talk about the pattern, in last 27 years, 16 times the topic of education has been asked, and 14 times the topic of women has been asked. So I can just tell you the trend analysis. Which topics of social issues are relatively more prominent even for the component of essay. Another benefit of like knowing Indian society social justice is interview. Just imagine you are sitting for the interview, the real interview. Then what is the tendency of raising the question? So the examiner will first start with your background to make you comfortable and easy. So introduce yourself, why you want to be a civil servant, hobbies and all. And then the examiner has a higher tendency to ask about what's going on in the society and what's your opinion about it. For the simple reason, you're going to govern the society. You're going to take care of the society. You're going to be the conscience keeper of the constitution, as well as in consonance with the constitution, you are going to take care of the issues related to the people. So that's why the component of society becomes important even for interview. That's one zone which any examiner, even if the examiner doesn't have a background of sociology, Any examiner, whether the person is like from foreign services or administrative services or an academician, has a tendency to raise questions from social issues to seek your opinion, to seek your insight, to check whether you are competent enough to handle those possibilities. So suppose, can just generally ask you, so what is your idea about beef ban? Should we not once in a while, when there are specific festivals, encourage certain bans which is in consonance with the larger interest of the society, whereby majority of the people feel more comfortable and their culture getting represented? I mean, we are just saying that for only few days. What is your opinion about it? Means subconsciously the examiner is testing, putting a thermometer inside you, how secular are you? How much the idea of social, economic and political justice is intact in you. That's how things are tested. This year, the All India 50th rank, Abhijit Ray, so he was my student. So what happened was that when I was just conversing with him, I told him that, see, presence of mind is something which is tested big time. He's like, yes, ma'am, I can sense that even in the mains exam and this and that, whatever. He went to the interview. You know what, one of the questions what the examiner asked, he was like, okay, so Abhijit, where are you staying? So he's a Bengali boy, okay? So, was a student from West Bengal. So he was like, sir, I'm staying at Bongo Bhavan. So like, okay, at Bongo Bhavan, all right. So there's a very important landmark near Bongo Bhavan. Can you recall that? First he asked that, which Bongo Bhavan? So yes, sir, there are two Bongo Bhavan, one which is near CP. He's like, great. So any important landmark over there? What is the interviewer aspiring to know? That you are very good in geography, locating places? No. While you are walking, sitting, talking to people, are you alert about the environment? Are you alert what's unfolding in front of you? So that is what was being tested. So this fellow was like, ma'am, coincidentally, I got down from metro and from Rajiv Chowk, I took a walk to Bongo Bhavan. And I noticed that there is the embassy of Iran. And not every day in Bengal we have like an embassy next to the place where we stay. So that was something which surprised me. Embassy of Iran next to the the place where I'm staying. So that took him by, like, surprise. So he just remembered, he's like, sir, that was Embassy of Iran. He's like, very good. So he was like, whenever a board member is asking you a question, the person knows the answer. It's just that the person is trying to test something from the question. You need to understand the intent of the examiner. What is the examiner aspiring to know? And when it comes to social issues, the capability to test your tendency of alertness, social alertness, what's happening in and around you, what is like unfolding before you. For example, there was this hijab ban in Karnataka, right? So when the court said so, what if the examiner asks you that what is your opinion about hijab ban? So whether you'll go by the judgment of the court, you'll come up with an alternate opinion, you will suggest that, sir, when it comes to the very possibility of hijab ban, though it is a very controversial issue and we have to align with the statement and the judgment of court, yet it is a sensitive issue for the simple reason there are a lot of religious depictions which we carry. There is turban also, right? So if we are today banning a hijab, which is a scarf around the head, so the scarf can be matching with the school uniform, the way the turbans are matching with the school uniform. Because if we are raising one issue today, it can backfire and it can trigger other issues tomorrow. So these are certain sensitive issues which can be reconsidered. Simple. You are not saying that you are changing the law. You are not going for social reform. They don't want revolutionaries in the system. Be very clear. Don't try to become a krantikari. Janda leke nikal jana hai. No. Don't try to be a revolutionary. Be pro-system, pro-constitution, because this answer is pro-secularism, pro-balance, pro-justice, pro-harmony. When you remember the essence, the theory, you do not mess up with what you speak. Then comes, the moment I say speak, the power of communication. This exam is all about power of communication. First, at written level, when you're writing the mains exam, and then at oral level, when you're appearing for the interview, right? So, as we are talking about the written level and the oral level, when we are speaking of written level, before entering into that written level, there is a very interesting possibility of this written level getting tested, that is through CSAT comprehension. Again, CSAT comprehension, an underdog area. Coincidentally, you'll find all the subjects I'll be teaching will be the underdog areas. Underdog means people will not pay attention and it can just very, like, smartly, it can just sliver through, create a slice and then pull out the meat. It's like that. So you have to be very careful. So this area of CSAT comprehension, which is generally out of 80 questions, in paper 2, you get 28 to 30 questions from that area. But, if you're messing with that area, maths is not going to continue in mains level, but comprehension does. How does comprehension continue itself? Through various types of questions, okay? For example, I'll just give you one sentence and I want you to interpret it, okay? You can write it down for yourself. So there was this question in essay. The question in 2020 was, all of you can note down, all the regional center students and online students as well. So the question was, patriarchy is the least noticed, yet the most significant structure of social inequality. Structure of social inequality. I repeat myself, patriarchy is the least noticed, yet the most significant structure of social inequality. Fine? So take your 30 seconds to comprehend this statement. What does this statement imply? What does this statement aspire from you that you perceive it and communicate it powerfully, right? So take your 1 minute. I'm giving you 1 minute. You can be silent, you can reflect, and let me see who's coming up with what. You can think of the content, what goes into the content. All right? Yes? I think you're kind of capable to at least indulge in a bit of it, right? Yes. What are you going to write, people? Let us play with common sense this time, because academic sense has yet not been developed. But generally you can sense what has to be written, right? Yes, let me know. What is it? Yes, please. Or? Okay, violence. Or? That's okay. All right. Anyone else wants to substantiate? Anyone? Okay, male dominance, gender gap. All right. Yes, regional centers, you can also type. I'm reading everything. It's not that you have to sit silently. Yes, rest of you. Okay, you have some abstract understanding of it. You're shy to speak it up, but you are understanding it, right? Now, if you actually know comprehension, you would have underlined least and most. Underline that. Just underline that. What does the word least and most signify? When you say least, you're comparing. If I'm saying X is the least attentive student in the class, what does that mean? Rest of the students are attentive, and most importantly, there are other students also in the class, right? If I'm saying he's least attentive, then you can get that implication there must be other students also, right? If I'm saying X is the most attentive student, means again there are other students also, but the attention span of this fellow is far greater than others, right? Least, most, okay. So the moment it says that it is least noticed yet most significant structure of social inequality, first you should ask, what are the structures of social inequality? Yes, what are the structures of social inequality? Means in the society, in how many ways do you witness social inequality? In how many ways? Caste-based, religious, regional, racial, or ethnic, right? So, okay, pay inequality, yes. So, class-based. So, class, caste, religion, region, right? Ethnicity, different types of inequalities which all of us can witness, right? And it is saying in any type of inequality, it is patriarchy which is not noticed or least noticed, but it acts as the major force. Means, if there is a communal violence, it is women who will get targeted, raped, butchered, killed, molested. If there is a caste-based violence, then also women will be targeted. In West, whenever there is racial violence, in the name of racial violence, the women of the community get targeted. Whenever there is ethnic violence, women get targeted. Right? Can you understand that? So it was not about patriarchy, it was about presence of patriarchy in all other subsystems of inequality. What happened? Let me again share one of the stories of failure, because it's not about success stories. We should own up when our students goof up. So one of my very bright students of sociology, he was like, ma'am, I wrote it so very well, so very fiercely. I was like, oh, is it? How did you attempt it? So he was like, ma'am, I wrote like vociferously about patriarchy, gender inequality, all forms of violence, everything that I had learned in violence against women chapter, sociology paper 2, or topic social stratification, or the component of gender and sex. I'm like, oh, good, great. And what else? It's like, ma'am, I'm like, any other part of the content, ma'am? It's like, didn't you compare the presence of patriarchy present in other systems of inequality like this? Ma'am, was that needed? I was like, wow, slow claps. I couldn't say that for the simple reason other papers were remaining. I couldn't break the confidence. I like, don't worry, it's fine, it's fine. Yes, you've written well. Few more dimensions could have been added. So we'll talk about it once your mains are over. It's like, ma'am, did I miss something major? No. Just 1 or 2 points more, that's insignificant. That's how you cover up your child. You have to cover up the child for the simple reason, you know that there are more papers to go. So you cannot break the confidence. So many GS papers and optional papers to go. So I just covered it up. But after the paper was over, then we had a good talk. It's like, how dare you not pay attention to these words? When you are poor in comprehension, it's not that you fail in CSAT. You can mess up 125 marks worthy of essay. You can mess up any of the GS questions. Something else is asked, you are responding something else. And same can happen in the interview. The examiner is asking something else, you're not catching hold of the intent of the examiner, and you're responding something else. So this is the importance of the area of comprehension, Indian society and social justice. So they seemingly look very innocent and innocuous, but they can have a tendency to bite hard if you are not really mastering this area. Okay, so there will be a lot of techniques and methods which I will be sharing with all of you, how to strengthen these areas in terms of teaching you Indian society and social justice. The booklet that is prepared for Indian society social justice, I had just updated it few months back, and much more updation will get added. So I see to it that the material is very good qualitatively, and every student feels encouraged to read it, not only the dictations in the class. Also, I indulge in making a lot of flowcharts and showing a lot of things through slides. Okay, so you'll find the sessions quite interactive, quite lesser dictation. Whatever I have to dictate, majority of the times I'll be either providing in hard copy or soft copy. So that's my pedagogic engagement and the kind of aspiration I have to create in the class to bring a difference in terms of your selection. So I hope this bit of interaction was helpful for all of you to give a brief orientation about what all is going to unfold, right? Okay.